Welcome to another episode of Exploring the Vintage NFT Space podcast with Zero G. Today, I'm very excited to have with me Nicolas Sierro. I think I'm probably butchering that, but thank you for joining me today.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I was taking a look at your portfolio of cards, which are very distinctive, and you've created a ton of digital art. So really looking forward to talking to you today.
Nice. Me too.
Yeah, well, before we jump into your cards, why don't you tell me the story about how you first learned about Bitcoin, and then what gave you the motivation to make your first purchase?
Okay, I have to look if the first purchase was for card or if it was through an ICO. But basically, I'm a digital product manager, project leader, often for novelties. And in 2014, there were different subjects I wanted to look at, and one was blockchain. And already at this time, as I say often, you can read, listen for a lot of things, but if you want to understand things that are new, you have to do it. So that was my first thing. With blockchain, I want to start with Bitcoin, and what I did was just having a little Bitcoin, making transaction, trading a little, and buying e-commerce. But then I was looking for more things like product. I'm a product manager. So what are blockchain products apart from, as we say, transaction of Bitcoin? And I look at it, and already all the blockchain area was put like in the finance or in the fintech. Here in Switzerland, we have some small or big banks, but let's face the reality. Finance banking is a little boring for me. It's B2B. The other area already at this time was certification of the supply chain, origin of physical objects. That's very good, but as well, it's business. The third one was a little energy, like, there will be liberation of energy, like liberation of telco, and then you need like mesh, decentralized, that should fit. That was okay, but I was as well knowing that it's B2B and these things won't come immediately. And for me, I like consumer. So I was looking for consumer product, blockchain consumer product. And the first thing I found was a scribe. So very short, a scribe was really certification of digital arts, with token on blockchain. By the way, I will start because at this time we were saying on the blockchain, you have a wallet and a token, not only, and cryptocurrency is a token that you can have decimal cents, and it's used for transaction. So there was a possibility to make a token related to something art, digital art often, and that was what a scribe was doing. But they had not that much success, and afterwards we know they stopped it and they made the big chain. But they were really, really good. As I was looking then, knowing a little this aspect of digital assets on the blockchain, I found the blockchain gaming. And so the first thing I did is in 2014, in December, I crowdfunded Deckbound. Deckbound was a blockchain game. There was like an ICO. Again, at this time, we were not saying ICO, initial coin offering. It was crowdfunding with crypto money. Deckbound at the beginning is they have their own cryptocurrency, and then they switch because I can remember I crowdfunded it with Bitcoin. But at the end, Garrett Jenkins did not make the cryptocurrency. Perhaps he was looking at the aspect of securities. And then with the money that was used, we received the cards, the blockchain cards, not yet known as NFTs globally. And so I had these things, they were packaged, I can reveal the card and test. And in between the game, he was in Europe presenting that of Gamescom in Cologne, in Germany. And I think it was in 2016. But the project didn't go further, but I know everything is there to come back again.
Okay.
From that, I discover Shaban Chameh, EverdreamSoft in Geneva. So I'm living in Switzerland near Geneva. I was knowing already, I knew Shaban Shame already for the first game, Munga, and basically was doing a second game, Spell of Genesis, and using the token on Bitcoin with counterparty to integrate in Spell of Genesis. By the way, there's another story. In 2014, in the University of Geneva, there was a workshop with Ethereum organized by one professor here of IT, technology, digital, and there was Vitalik. So there was a room with Vitalik, Shaban Shame, and myself, but there was a lot of other people. Just to say why, because it was the beginning of Ethereum. It was not ready to make all the, I will say, the token and everything. The ERC20 was just very simple things, and counterparty was good. A lot of people don't know counterparty. It's a kind of layer on top of Bitcoin when you are using the OP return aspect to add additional information. And if you have a counterparty wallet that is fully a Bitcoin wallet, for little transaction of dust of Bitcoin, you can add information, and this information could be, this is the creation of a token, this is sending a token, this is a DEX between any token counterparty against others, and these things. And it's always working, very stable with the advantage like Bitcoin. Sometimes it's simple. When it's simple, it's very robust.
Mm-hmm.
So I crowdfunded Spell of Genesis, and 1 year later, I joined the company. So I was working by EverdreamSoft with the game Spell of Genesis. That was an ICO. So the cards were produced regularly. Additionally to the money from ICO, you had the card. And so there was really the first NFTs that were well known is the FD card, the first one that was, and the Satoshi card. That is always a great piece.
If you don't mind, before you go forward, what were you doing for EverSoft at the time? What was your job? Yeah.
Okay, I was like a product manager for. We had another project that was not blockchain for the an application tablet that brings money. I was making like the product owner of the development for Spell of Genesis, but we had really the game designer, the developer, the graphic and everything, but more like a project leader. I was not programming. And with the time, I help as well as define other product, because having the game was not enough. We had already a specific customization of counterparty wallet as plugin for Chrome, so before MetaMask, especially just that the people can have Bitcoin, and with Bitcoin bought bit crystals, the cryptocurrency. So we had other products, not only the game. Then we were as well doing selling the cards. So I was part of, not the operation, but we are selling the cards. And then something important was the first NFT wallet as application, the Book of Forbes. That was a partner company in Japan. So we were interacting with these people in the square, great people from Japan, because the Book of Forbes was really the NFT wallet as application on Android and iOS. At the end, we had this product backed by us. And with the success we had, we were as well helping other companies, other gaming studio to launch their collection on counterparty, integrating on Book of Forbes to start their game. So there was a lot of things to do, and as well participating with Shaban Shame, with other employees on the presentation of what we do, the game, but as well the other modules we have by EverdreamSoft to help, like a kind of platform to help other, I would say, gaming studio or people creating content to produce NFTs.
Oh, very cool. I mean, that must have been, very exciting being on the, like you said,
yes,
like at the forefront, really, the cutting
absolutely.
edge.
And it is really the thing is that on the blockchain, but Bitcoin world, there were people, they were not like, they didn't like counterparty. We call it the Bitcoin maximalist. They say, no, it's just Bitcoin and everything. So everything you add additionally on Bitcoin, some people think no, we have to focus only on the cryptocurrency and financing. But it's true that was well known. And Shaban was in the Satoshi Roundtable, this Bitcoin Roundtable invitation, and he was asking the people, but almost 75%, 3 or 4 people were knowing the game Spell of Genesis. But it's one of the applications, I will say, running in the Bitcoin area, but that was a cool one because it was a game. And that was really a new one. So Spell of Genesis was really well known. And yes, that was a great period because all the people, they contact us. The one they were interested, the people that were, let's say, convinced that there is something to do with blockchain gaming, they contacted us and we have to discuss with them. And it's true, I discussed with the founder of OpenSea or the community manager of Axie, or as well, I was involved with all these people that are now the top project in this area. And it was really a period when everybody, it was so new, we were all exchanging information, help each other.
I mean, Spells of Genesis is really extraordinary on a lot of levels. One thing I give Shaban a ton of credit for is how seriously he took it. Like, you know, like we have, again, I still think that the Satoshi card is one of the most striking pieces of crypto art ever created that I've seen. And for him to take it seriously enough to commission, you know, serious artists to do this instead of just, you know, basically slapping it together with, you know, the lowest quality or fastest way possible too. I mean, he was really thinking long term and how he was approaching it. So again, I'm very impressive that he had the vision that early on.
Yes, absolutely. That was really Shaban was the guy behind it. He had the vision and we tried to roll everything. But we had a lot of product and project and helping the others. And I would say that was a great success. And then we were adding the other collection in the Book of Orbs. So it's always now visible, the list. And then I would say there is one that was particularly good. It was the Rare Pepe, naturally.
Yeah. So how did you find out about Rare Pepes back then?
Okay, I have no clue.
Okay.
I was involved. No, the thing I can't remember, but it's true that I was aware of all these things. We were always aware of it. The same with Age of Chain, so we saw that in a forum. So I say, okay, I will take the first card and so on. But it was clear. It was Rare Pepe in September 2016. And then for me, it was, oh, that's great, because it's UGC, in fact. It's user-generated content. So everybody could contribute to create the NFTs in the collection. And that was really powerful, because until that, mainly, that was a company by EverdreamSoft for Spell of Genesis. We have specific different designers, but then it was really possible for everybody. So for me, I say I will do as well cards in Rare Pepe because it's for everybody. And I looked what was done there and I say, okay, I want to do something different. And perhaps we can discuss. There was already a little the cards from political, you know, Trump and Hillary Clinton and so on. And I say, okay, according my accent that you can hear, I say, well, let's do something great. Let's do the France. So I create 3. There was as well election in France. So I create 3 cards about the candidates of the French election to 2017. We were in 2016. So I made these 3 cards for the candidates. That was the pendant, I will say, but for France. Because I have to say, I think French is my mother tongue. France culture is very good. So it was good to have something different. And then I made other things. And one was, yes, I made the Pepe de Sog because spoke about the Satoshi card, so I make the Satoshi Pepe card. And this one was good.
That's an incredible one.
It's a good one because I think I was lucky to say, okay, I made this one. The name is good. I think the best is the name. The design is, you recognize it immediately. I put the animation, and it links two collections that are two cult and iconic collection, Spell of Genesis and Rare Pepe. So it has a great success. The Pepe OG is a good one. I love it. And then I made two others, if we discuss of all. I'm an old guy, so I know sometimes the old things like from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 70s, 60s, and so on. So I say, let's bring something old. And so I make a tribute to Fred Astaire, which is really old, but reusing a great comics artist, Tanino Liberatore. And so I made the dance Pepe, the Pepe dance. And another one I was thinking, Pepe dance. You like it because I think it's easy to understand.
That was one of the ones that I was able to snag off the decks a year or two ago. It's you very rarely see it for sale. It's super cool.
By the way, I put in one for free. There is a Fred Astaire museum. I don't know if it's Los Angeles or in California. And there was this other application for Mandan Duck done with, that is Takara, when you could put, like Pokemon Go, some NFTs on the map, on the Google map. So often when I was making conference presenting EverdreamSoft Spell of Genesis, before I distribute some cards of Spell of Genesis around the area. So I put one Pepe dance for free in the Fred Astaire Museum. But the problem there was when all these things I put as well, sometimes small Bitcoin. La maison, the house of Bitcoin in Paris, la maison du Bitcoin in Paris, I put some dust of Bitcoin that now today is a few hundred francs, and they stay there for 2 years. And then suddenly there was people noticing it, and they were frauding with spoofing, and so we stopped. But yes, Pepe dance is good. And then the last one was, internet, you have a screen, but before internet, the screen was the TV. And so I put the Videodrome because the movie for Cronenberg was really an important movie explaining how you can use TV to influence or manipulate people. So that was for me like a clin d'oeil, a way to say, okay, we are in the internet, we are with blockchain, with NFT, but the reference to this great movie of Cronenberg was good. So that were the 6 Rare Pepe I did. And after, I didn't have that much time. That was always difficult to prioritize everything. But I'm happy I did it. And that was what I said at the beginning. When you do things, you learn. But by doing things, you're part of the doers. The other people are doing. And then you can communicate with these people because they know you are doing something. So you have a great relationship with people that are as well doing, and you have some insight. So that was a great period to really exchange everything. And that was like this, like suddenly in 2017, Joe Looney see with a Twitter post, hey, Spell of Genesis, Dada, CryptoPunk and so on, let's do a meeting, let's do an event, a festival. And so that was this Rare Art Festival one day in New York in January 2018. We got there with Shaban and myself, and that was absolute. The mood there was incredible. That was one of my best day of my life because I was surrounded by people that were all very open, enthusiastic, and it was a great moment. And when the Homer Pepe was sold for $39,000, it was really, very good, exciting.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. In your so I wanted to kind of step back. So, had you created art before? Because I was looking at your cards, and you have some animation and whatnot. Did you create them yourself? And what was your background in art?
Oh my God. The thing is, no, but honestly, in my family, we say we were family artists because my great father was doing sculpture in bronze My sister is very good in contemporary art. She's drawing are very good, but normally my brother was a part of designer. Me, I was not that good, except I think 20 years ago, I was blocked in a museum and there was something to draw for kids. And I had to stay in the museum to keep attention to my kids. I was drawing, but normally not. But background technically, I started by creating 3D models like blades. I was working by ABB, like, Siemens Westinghouse. So I had some technical background to create 2D drawings, but industrial drawings or 3D models for business. And with time, as a product manager, I'm used to quickly sketch things, designing concept and so on.
Okay.
So I have a common interest in culture. I don't want to say more, and it's normal things. So I did that, and the people are astonished. I did that mainly the cart in Microsoft Paint, which is what the people hate normally. And with that, I made the animation and everything. But that was great because in September, October, at the beginning of Rare Pepe, everybody was not, let's say, the Top Gun designer. Important is you bring the ID and then you have this meme culture and so on. So I was doing by myself, a little amateur, but I did mainly the things in Microsoft Paint, sometime with GIMP to put away the round. So it's a mix of all the things. I create the elements, I put it as GIF, and that's it.
I didn't know you could use Paint for GIFs. I always just assumed it was only for static images. So
now you can use, but I think there was a ES GIF online service when you put just upload different image and you define the intervals and so on.
I see.
But yeah, I think, that was mine now, not very sophisticated. I like now that we have great designer, great painters doing things, but the freshness at the beginning of the NFT by Rare Pepe, when the people were not good designer, sometimes make it, the effect is more direct, it's impactful. So really, it's very good. Yeah. So I have the links of my interviews, and I say one of the cards I liked, they were doing exactly like me. You're just a meme, you put image, you put text. It's not perfectly pixel perfect, but when you see some cards at this early period, immediately you understand it and the impact is big. So it's not a disadvantage to be sometimes not a nice artistic designer.
Yeah, I think I think some of those earlier cards that are a little bit rougher are like you said, more endearing too. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it's definitely incredible that you were able to you're able to get so many cards into the directory. But it looks like your last card was the Pepe the Sog. Did you just get busy with other stuff at the time?
Absolutely. I did that. Honestly, after I was doing in 2018 another collection, but it's just because the job by EverdreamSoft is in Geneva and I'm living in another city where I have the train, and I was doing that by commuting in train. Because for the rest, I would not have time to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know that you also contributed to Fake Rares, which I just pulled up that card, which has a great animation for the Pepe the Pog.
Exactly, because I made historically. I was checking what was the French NFTs. I would say I have to check if Pepe the Sog is not the first NFT as a fake of another NFT, because we can consider that Pepe the Sog is a fake Satoshi card, naturally.
Yeah.
So it was interesting in the fake rare to bring Pepe the Pog, just changing one letter and having Pog and Poggy. And so we can say it's a double fake.
Yeah. Yeah. Taking it to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. That was one guy that bought Pepe the Pog say, "Hey, who's the dude?" Because you have first the guy coming, and then you have Poggy and so on. And so I say, okay, you can look at Know Your Meme and check Poggy and Pog.
Well, yeah, I mean, from that perspective, it's also a second level meme too, because you've got the meme of Satoshi and that, the woe dude, so as well.
Yeah. Now that was fun, and it was really this. I'm happy, honestly. There was a Rare Pepe in the interviews. We were always saying, perhaps there were discussion because with Mike and say, okay, we will stop after 500. And I say, well, perhaps we could stop and then do it again. Now Rare Pepe is over. It's a history, but it's good that there are other collection continuing this spirit.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, so you definitely were on board with fake rares, seeing as how you submitted one. I know some people were initially skeptical. I know myself, I was a little bit circumspect until later in the first season when I saw that it was going to have legs and it was going to have like more original artwork instead of just being strictly derivatives of original cards. So but I also see that you also jumped into dank rares too, which is another really fun collection.
Exactly, because it was like this. I made the for the dank rare. So I made the three political French candidates, and then I produced when there was the election of Monsieur le Président Emmanuel Macron. I've created the cards and I have to put it for Rare Pepe, and then it was not done. So I keep it, and then I publish it in 21 for in Kaleidoscope, the friend Nathan.
Oh, okay.
And then on Twitter, now that was the election of 22, and then I was tagged in Twitter, and I could read, translate from French, Nicolas, you must make a Rare Pepe of this one. And that was the woman candidate, Valérie Pécresse. She was making a meeting. And basically, she was saying, we will help the people online, like we will help the digital things, the business, the people online, but not the poor one alone on their screen, connected alone and lost in the metaverse. And then the day after, everybody in the digital world was laughing of these things. Really the old way to consider, oh my God, people playing games or always on their screen, they are lost in the metaverse. Oh, these poor guys, which is not the case. So I started to make one on this subject, and then I said, now I have to make two others. And so I made another one for, Pepe Zemmour, which is, a lot of extreme right people party. They try always to convince you they are not that much far right. And this guy is supported by a very rich man in France. So I put it clear, the link between the two. And the last one is Mélenchon, which is left. And which is good is Mélenchon was already in 2017, and he had a game. You could make a game called Fiscal Combat. And basically, we were fighting like the original fighting game Combat. You were fighting against the tax, the banker, all these things, And he has his own avatar or personal body in the game, so I could add this pixel representation of this political person, and I make the small animation. So for me, it was as well to say, okay, that was a collection. It was not a collection. That was some Rare Pepe I did in 2016 for a subject, which is French election. Let's do that again. And I suppose I will do the same in 4 years.
That's cool. Yeah, and you also have the Pepe Atomo for dank rares too, which is a really cool animation using the elements. Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the notable. So I discussed with VDD and I say I will bring to notable and so, but basically Atomo is exactly as well what I did. I make it short. I say, okay, I want to make a collection on my own, something completely different. So normally there were always cards. I say, no, I don't make a card. I make a square, like a tile. And normally the cards, they are flat. And I say, no, I don't want to make my NFT looking flat. So I will bring like 3D effect or 2.5 effect. So I made the Atomo and I say, I want this collection to be very basic, that will last forever. What is basic and lasts forever in our physical world? They are the atomic elements. So I put all the atomic elements of the periodic table as NFT with animated 3 views and everything. A little try always to put something visual. And then I say, okay, cool, but it's, you know, the atomic element, you have letters like CO, RN, AT, and so on. So I say you can build words. So I try to build services around it. So in my website, there is the Atomo speller. So you can input words and the system produce the words with the letters of the atomic elements of the table or not. And sometimes I'm provoking people. I say, do you really exist in the metaverse? Because me, if I put Nicolas, my first name, he could create it. So I let you try afterwards. Anyway, I was using that in different kind of elements. And one element I put is using, I would say, the different colors of these Atomo elements like pixel. And so this card that you refer, the Pepe Atomo, the colors, the green, the yellow, the violet, the red, are the ones of the original colors I produced for the Atomo elements, and they are different. So I say, in this case, it's just you have an NFT, which is the elements of the periodic table. I put the colors, but then I can reduce it and use it just as pixel to build another image. And this is what I did with other collection, trying always to place Atomo in other collection, sometimes by words, sometimes by the colors of the element, the pixel, and so on.
I mean, I was looking at your Bitcoin that's made out of those elements, and it's super dank. It's it's like a Minecraft sword made out of corn looking element colors. I don't know, it's super dank.
Yeah, that's cool. So do you refer for the QR code?
The card that I'm looking at is, I don't know the name of the card, but it has at the top corn Atmo, you know?
Yeah, corn Atomo. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because so on what I said, so we are in 2018. I made it the Atomo in June. I think at the beginning of 18, that was the Bitcoin Crops game, which is an idle game. And then there were Mafia Wars. I made cards for all these. The thing, it's really Bitcoins is really the things you have group of people, idle game, and the people can create the cards and you can have like a farm, or with Mafia Wars, you are part of a family and so on. That was very creative as well. And the Corn Atomo is a good one because this NFT is in 2 collections. One is Atomo, one is Bitcoin Crops, and the image is different depending of the collection. So you have the same token, the same NFT, but you have like 2 images, and one image is for one collection and one image is for another collection. So if you go in the Counterparty NFT Explorer X-Chain and you look at Corn Atomo, it's clearly written part of 2 collections, which is possible, which is something that was already done by Shaban with the Satoshi card that was playable in Spell of Genesis, but you can have it as well in the Saroturbi game from Mandelduck, which is a cool concept. This concept, one NFT could be used in different collection or in different games. So you have kind of interoperability for games and collection.
I mean, that's a really good point. That's something that, you know, as I've been thinking about kind of the future and where we're going, that's something I keep imagining, is that, you know, like the early creators, we have all this, we ascribe a lot of value, or at least the community that I'm a part of, we ascribe a lot of value to these very important historical NFTs. And to me, it only makes sense that we're going to see in these future games and digital worlds that these original assets are going to be given, like they're going to be given value or special properties for owners in these new metaverses or games or worlds. So I really think it's a no-brainer that that concept is going to continue into the future.
Yes, I agree completely, which is good because it's always the same. You have a community of creators. And
Yeah, for sure.
and for me, honestly, I think this, I know these people, but you look, they are great artists in NFT. There was the Dada things that was really good, already present since 2017. But sometimes having the possibility, everybody on the street, you can contribute, you make it this, it's very creative. And the ones that are old, historical, they will keep value, absolutely, because it was always in new elements. The pioneer have more creativity because there are nothing after you do things. They are great artists, great things, but you are always influenced. When there is nothing like tabula rasa from scratch, this is really a good start for creation.
Yeah, and I thought your other two Bitcoin cards were good too. You had a Lego
Lego Decorn.
Yeah, a voxelized version of that, which is cool.
Yeah, this one is, I put, thanks to artists Grant Wood and Nathan Sawaya. That was an exhibit of Lego, and that was this one. And
that's actually Legos. Oh, I got it.
Yeah, they are real Legos. And what I did, because it's animated, I don't know, but we can put the link afterwards, That was this like 3D Legos sculpture things. And I take a picture when I was in front, and then I move a little from a little angle. I took another picture, and I took another picture. So just in the museum, it was a temporary visiting exposition in Geneva. I was there, I took 5 pictures with different angles, and then with that, I could make the rotation. So I thank the artist, and naturally, Jeff Koons was happy to add his own quote and sentence, which is completely wrong, naturally, but who cares? And perhaps the other one, if we can discuss for Cocoricorn, it's another card that is, I would say, reference to French Touch. And for me, it's good because you don't know it, but there is an animation in this card. But you have to wait 1 minute to see the animation. So here as well, I think I was trying to do something different. So there is a card, it's a boring one, or it's, people don't know that the card is animated, but after 1 minute, you have a little animation coming.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and I know the Brewster is a big part of the French iconography for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I guess the other one that I know you contributed to was Mafia Wars too. Do you want to tell us about your Mafia Wars card?
Yeah, exactly. I had planned for a lot, but it was difficult. So for me, I was in contact with the guy from Mafia Wars, and we were discussing. Mafia Wars is you can create the card for the game, but he was integrating as well cards from other collection, Spell of Genesis, Rare Pepe, and so on. So as example, Pepe Dance is a sexual artist in the Mafia Wars, because he has the right clothes for that. And then we were discussing, and I say, okay, let's do a card, the Stetscand Nielsen, and let's make that if you have the 3 other Atomo cards, then there is a boost for the value of this card. So it was not only the concept we discussed to have different NFTs that can be used in different collection games, but then it was really, you have, I'll say, an original Mafia Wars card, but if you have the aluminium, scandium, I don't know exactly what it is, then you have a boost. So this one was gaining, was one of the design contests of the month. And another thing that I think was cool in Mafia Wars, as the owner, the issuer of the NFT, you could prove you were the creator of the card, and then you could change a little the value, the parameter value of this card in the game. So we could consider, blockchain is all about the community. There is a game, Mafia Wars. There's a lot of people that create cards in Mafia Wars or from other collection. In the counterparty system, you can prove you have the wallet that was the wallet that created the NFT cards. And with that, by signing with the wallet, you could define, you could update the value of this card in the game. So we can say the community was able to influence the gaming completely, the game, And this is really powerful as system. And everything is done, I would say, openly, because you can see who has which wallet is owning which cards and which wallet was producing which card. So we could say it's a game, but a part of the game is co-defined, co-creation by the people creating the NFTs.
Yeah, exactly. It's instead of, like board games or even traditional video games, having like these community elements that are essentially living, and like we mentioned earlier, you can, like, they transcend a single game if you want to, in the sense that, again, creators of other games or whatnot, they can still attribute qualities to these existing tokens from other collections and keep building on that.
Yes, no, that's really cool. And it's a good example. Now these two games are finished, because it was really, you have a start period, an end period, and idle game every month or every period there was something. But honestly, I hope someone else bring another kind of similar games when a lot of people can play but co-create.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing. I know it's just a matter of time before we see. The example I keep thinking of is something like Counter-Strike. They have their skins, but it's done in their own. It's not a blockchain, and I like that. To me, is a perfect example of something that would translate seamlessly over to to a blockchain system for open NFTs. And I think if someone cracks it, I think we'll eventually see a big blockbuster success that would give you a lot more freedom of ownership, right? Because right now, if you can have your account banned by the publisher, and then you lose all your stuff, or they can just decide to change, delete the item, or, like, again, you don't have permanent ownership and real ownership in these centralized systems. But I think it has to just be a matter of time,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that we're coming up, as we're recording this. This is about a week away from the Pepes in Paris event, and I know that you have a special physical that you've prepared for the Scarce City auction there. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah. So I was saying, okay, we are in France, we are in Paris. I created the first French NFTs. For that, I was really in July, before it was announced, or in June, before it was announced that the Pepe will come there. I was thinking, really, my 3 Rare Pepe are the first French NFTs, but I have to check. So I checked completely in Spell of Genesis, and then I go to the community, some groups, French groups in Telegram, in Twitter. Do you think there are other NFTs related to France? When you see that, you say, oh, it's a French thing, it's a French touch, French culture, and so on. And there was nothing. There was one guy. I will meet him again. He created his own, let's say, name token in counterparty before, in 2014-15, but he was adding the picture, let's say, the media related to that afterwards, and he was doing that only. So for me, I'm always open, but normally it's really the first one. So I say, let's do something physical. And I made a Leporello. I don't know how you do that, zigzag folding books and so on. The history of Leporello was the servant of Don Juan, The famous, I would say, I don't know, famous man with a lot of women. And Don Juan asked Leporello, a servant, please take a list of all the women I had. And he was creating this kind of books like this to write all the things. So basically, it's like a zigzag accordion. And it was important for me to have that because I want to make clear there are three first NFTs. They are only the Rare Pepe I did in 2016. And then there was the other one, Pepe Macron. And then there was the three other one I made with Dunk afterwards. So it allows to explain the history of the 7 candidates easily, and you can pack it, have it. Naturally, the value is when I sell the physical, you have the 7 NFTs as well.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, you know, if I have a Lambo that I don't have, and I go in a bar, it's only if I have the key of my Lambo that I can say I have a Lambo. So it's the same. It allows for the people that have the NFTs. Sometimes they can show it in their wallet, in their mobile phone, but they can as well, because it's not big, they say, okay, they can show it, they can have it in their house and so on. But for me, as we speak about it, it's not linked, you know. You cannot link really a physical object to an NFT because who knows, in the future, one could be sold separately. So it's more like a reminder.
The closest thing that I've seen, and I've got my second fake rare is going to incorporate this where I'm giving people the option where you can have there's NFC stickers that have the ability to have a counterparty wallet on them, so you can that you can encrypt, so you can send the token onto the sticker that you can put onto physical. But like you said, I mean, like there's nothing to stop someone from literally peeling off the sticker and then it's separated. But yeah, there's I mean, I've seen other people do like where they'll have like a scratch off for a private key or something. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get something more elegant in the future, but I think that's what we've got for now, for sure.
That's good because I have personally, when I was in this, rare art event in January 2018 in New York, that was Killian for Age of Chains. And he was distributing for free a physical, let's say, printed image of NFTs. And there was a QR code that was the key to the wallet containing one of these. And above the QR code, there was like a stamp. So you have to break the seal, a seal things physically. So I have it, but I did not break it. And for me, that was interesting as well when I make a presentation in Pocket Gamer in London in 2000. I was explaining the relationship because that was when the people noticed, oh my God, it was before 21, but the people, where is the media? Where is the rich media? Where is the token? And that was one example, which is BitShares, when you had the hash of the image in the blockchain. So it means you can prove one relationship from the image that was the NFT because the hash of the image was on the blockchain. So if someone changed the image that was not on the blockchain, with the hash, you can notice it.
That's very clever. Yeah.
And this is as well what I did with Scan Atomo, which is you have this collection in Counterparty, the scannable NFTs, which is the QR code. So with the Scan Atomo, I created an NFT on Counterparty. This was represented with Atomo elements moving and so on. It was a lot of manual interaction to do that. But at the end, the QR code just points to the NFT. So in this case, we have a relationship between the image that is not on the blockchain, but as the image is a QR code, you have to link to the NFT representing and represented. There are interesting things to do with that. And that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool to have it. I mean, essentially when you like in Counterparty as you're doing the asset update or issuance, you're adding in the hash of the image so that essentially, you know, the references you can prove the authenticity of the image that you're seeing on
Yeah.
counterparty, essentially, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for these things. How can we ensure the image will be always there? How can we ensure the NFTs is always there? So we have now these decentralized possibilities to upload image like IPFS, Pinata, or R-Wave. That, you know, for me, for the Atomo, that is my own connection, I'm the old way. It's only already planned for me that my son and my daughter, they will take care of it. So they will further pay for the website when all the pictures are there, which is not a big problem because the image are copied anyway. When you are in a collection, they made already a Coin Daddy with the Exchange NFT Explorer. He made, I would say, a copy of the image. You have a lot of websites, they make a copy of the collection. And it is interesting, even if, let's take the example of the Rare Pepe. We have the Rare Pepe directory. It will stay, I will say so. This website is very good, but there are so many copies of the Rare Pepe collection. You have Pepe WTF, you have DigiRare, and so on. There should be 5, 6. So basically, these images are already censorship against censorship. And that is something that is interesting for me, as well for the one I made with the French NFTs, because they are in this tradition of, you know, caricature, satire, pastiche. Sorry to have the French words for that. When it was started in France with the King of France, when there were people making a comical image, caricature of the king and so on. It's good that, for me, blockchain NFTs can participate to protect content against censorship.
Yeah, I agree. That's one area where I think it's I don't think we've really fully seen that utilized to the best extent yet. I know that's one reason why I was excited to see, because I've had this idea for years and years that you know, we have these different like layers of censorship that are affecting humanity right now, and
Yes.
one of them is like a crucial part is we have censorship of basically inventions and patents. So
Yes.
in the US, and I think it's pretty much similar in most of the Western countries, if you come up with something that is extremely powerful or very or novel, the government will basically seize it from you and ban you from even discussing it. They'll classify it, right? So my idea is that, well, hey, now that we have this easy to use interface now for Bitcoin, which is the most uncensorable network in the world, now for 50 or $100 or whatever, you can embed the PDF or whatever it is of your or text of your patent application or whatever you want to protect. So, hey, if they want to try and seize it, then, good luck censoring Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was always the concept, in patent, when you have an ID, you can make a patent. It costs a lot and very thin. But if you don't want to make a patent, but you want to avoid that someone else is making a patent, you can publish it, because when it is published, that nobody can make a patent, which is not exactly the same, but it exists already. It's just as well that was not so costly to publish, but you have to do it and so on. Now there's a way to do it openly and nobody can censure it, which is very good.
And also people can't repudiate that it exists too.
Yep.
It's one of the strongest ways of proving the time and authenticity of when it was published. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing more utilization of these technologies for, like you said, for censorship resistance, and especially as these Western, like all governments, are getting at least, we're recording this in 2023, and over the last, especially the last 3 or 4 years, our governments have been meddling in a very intimate manner with private corporations to try and censor internet communication. So, we've known about surveillance by the big governments for a long time, but this seems to be a new chapter where um, they're trying to directly intervene with in collusion with private corporations to censor and manipulate the flow of information.
Yeah. And for me, it's all content should not be, no, it's not all content should not be censored. There are rules, which are the laws and everything, but it's all the balance and everything. But it's good that it's always as well for unserious things like humor. You make humor with picture and so on. Or if it's very serious, you can add it as NFTs on linking to this. So it brings as well that the community is both serious, but with fun.
Yeah, so that's one thing I think it'll be fun to see how this plays out in the future with I know and we were talking a little bit earlier about like some of the different innovations and the applications of blockchain. I was originally I bought a bunch of these different like infrastructure tokens. Like I bought into Namecoin early. I bought into what's now called Odyssey, but at the time, what was it called? Library and some like SIA and some of these other things. I even though they were a terrible investment in the long run, I still believe that in these like the decentralized infrastructure to help again support like resist the censorship. So it'll be interesting to see like how this evolves and and to see what we make of it, right? And then again, we're still early times, so we may see completely new generations of decentralized technology that take it to another level too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, we've covered quite a bit with your your history with Bitcoin and your impressive collection of NFTs across the projects. Is there anything else you wanted to cover, or do you have any thoughts about where we're going in the future for the NFT space?
So, okay, for me, the one thing is naturally interesting is what we have with the ordinal, the concept, do we put the image on the blockchain or not? There was, in this case, linked to counterparty, Bitcoin stamps, other things. That's something interesting. For me, I come back, as I said at the beginning, there was token on the blockchain and we're saying, okay, token often is a cryptocurrency. Then we called it crypto collectibles. NFTs was only coming with the concept of the CryptoPunk and the CryptoKitty with the standard ERC-C21, that is one unique but a variation, the same collection. And then the people say, okay, NFTs should have utility. It depends. For me, it's sometimes the utility is the media, is the art, is the design, is the image, the video, or the audio. Sometimes there's a token has a utility, but you don't need absolutely to have an image linked to it. If it's a ticket, why not? Because you have a ticket to go to a concert or a sport event, then it's good that you have the NFT because you can remember of the event, or you can say 10 years later, I was there. So yes, it's good sometimes to have utility, but not obligatory. What I see is NFT are partially in digital arts, which is part of arts, and that go further. Personally, I see further the power that everybody has the right to create content and to do that part of a community. So I hope there will be more theme-based community NFTs or collection that are in a certain area, subject, and everybody can contribute. The challenge is how to make the curation, because people have interest and so on. So should we have a community voting system? There is no curation and so on. That's the challenge. But it's good that if I want to create content, I can do that within a collection that corresponds to this content, and I can do that within a community. I can exchange and progress, be influenced or influence others. So I hope for other subject-based collection for user-generated content.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like the model that Rare Pepes, fake rares, dank rares, you know, and the other collections on Counterparty is a I think is a really great model. Where you know, the cries for utility, I remember like they were mainly coming from what I saw, these Ethereum collections where it basically was like an echo of the ICO bubble, where these, in order to entice people to like to to get people to ascribe more value to these collections, they basically had like roadmaps and promises, right? And
Yep.
and just like in the ICO times, the promises were almost never fulfilled, and if they were like terrible, right? So I think a lot of that was basically a result of these corporate, for lack of a better term, or VC funded like Ethereum collections, basically manipulating the like through their marketing, manipulating the expectations of you know of what their NFTs can and should be, and what people will get by buying it. I mean, like you, I like all the old NFTs that I buy, I don't have any expectation of any future utility other than having it, right? But
Mhm.
you know, we had these collections. Like the most famous is like Bored Apes and Yuga, where now they're promising all these like all these games and all this other stuff, which I think is I think if you're buying NFTs for again for future value, I think that's incredibly risky because, like for example, in Yuga's case, you know, this is a new company that's never created a game, and
Exactly.
I mean the what are like gaming like you just can't jump into a new industry and expect to hit a home run out of the park. So even if you have a lot of money, you know, we've seen in the last couple of years some there's been games that had like 100 and 200 million dollar budgets that completely flopped, right? So I think it's an incredibly risky thing to be buying something based on the expectation of the success of these novel, you know, applications of their
Yeah,
properties.
exactly. Their collection is really from the beginning. It's part of a game and everything, a car and so on. With the Bored Apes, even with the price you pay for that, you don't pay this price just to play a game. And I can tell you because with the Spell of Genesis, there
Yeah.
was an ICO. We delivered the game. It's still one of the best blockchain games. But if you say gaming is highly competitive, and at the end, if the NFT you play the game, which is a standard game and so on, okay, there are a ton of other games. That should be value. And people underestimate the difficulty to make a good game. It's a difficult digital product, very difficult, and it's highly competitive. The problem for gaming, like a lot of other products, digital products or apps, is even if you have a good game, you should have a good budget for the marketing and everything. In the case of NFTs, when you have a great successful, let's say, successful NFT collection, yes, you have part of the marketing already done. But anyway, making a good game, just to give value to the NFT, it's okay if it's from the beginning. When you promise it and then you say, okay, now we have money, let's do the game, then it should be a specific game, or just to, then perhaps it should be just a community game when you have the pleasure to interact with the other people. Because for me, NFT, it's always about content and community, but in the positive sense, not a community when there are a group of people buying and then there's the value is growing and there's another group of people coming and so on. It's really the community are there for the whole things of the collection for the long term or middle term. And if it's with an utility of the game from the beginning, it's played from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think people, again, probably largely due to marketing, but people have this like warped sense of or there was this idea that was common that um that these things would drive a tremendous amount of value for token holders, where like if you think step back and you think logically about, like, I don't know how many like unique token holders that Yuga has. Maybe it's what, 50,000, like 70,000. I don't know. They have a bunch of collections that I haven't kept up with. But, like even if every one of those bought a game, like that's nothing for, for a double A or a triple A title nowadays. Like the budgets and the, like you said, I mean, marketing, but like marketing is very expensive too. I mean, I don't know. That's like 50,000 units is not enough to sustain a studio, right? Unless you're just going with like low effort indie stuff. So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, but I am looking forward to seeing. I know we'll see some successes in the area. I mean, you know uh, I think it's pretty amazing that Eversoft is still around and kicking, and they're still putting out cards. Again, credit to having the vision and foresight to not instantly dump all their assets, and to have some discipline too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good for EverdreamSoft. Perhaps you will have a talk with Shaban and with Antoine Sorot, which is they make another initiative from EverdreamSoft that is now more independent to certify the NFT to be around. So this company is always leading in this area. So we can organize another talk with them.
That'd be cool. Well, I certainly appreciate you taking the time out to chat with me today. It's been a real pleasure going over your involvement in the crypto scene, and your NFTs. Again, I didn't know that you actually worked for Eversoft, which is incredible too. That's definitely a huge feather in your cap.
Yeah, I was lucky. Let's say like this.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was great.